analyst Brian Sobel. Brian, thanks for being here. We want to start with the Russia investigation. Aside from the president's tweets, he has made no attempts thus far to shut down the investigation. Do you think something to protect Robert Mueller is necessary?
I actually don't. We've seen no move by the president to fire Mueller, although he talks a good game around being dissatisfied with him and that sort of thing. And so absent that, I don't know that there's a necessity for the legislation that we saw trying to be moved forward.
A lot of people point to the appointment of Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, who has been a very vocal critic of the Russia probe, calling for it to wrap up, and he is now in charge at the Justice Department. That's what folks point to. Should that cause concern, you think?
Well, it would cause concern because he could fire Mueller. But again, nobody has talked about that. Sarah Sanders has been very clear with the media that there's been no talk about that. So I'm not sure that's in the offing at this point.
They may try to get this put this for another vote. Do you think it would have any success in succeeding?
No, there just aren't the votes there in the Senate to pass it, and something could come out of the House where they try to do something, but I don't think this is a law that is going to end up on the books.
All right. Any surprise that you had Senator Jeff Flake siding with Democrats today?
No, Flake has been disrespected, as they say, by the president over and over, and I think
he's on his way out anyway.
Yeah, but this is his payback. This is saying, hey, I can get you by making sure that Mueller is not fired, and that's how I'm going to do it.
Let's move on and talk about Nancy Pelosi clearing one hurdle today. Do you think she is, in fact, going to secure enough votes to become Speaker of the House?
Ultimately, yes, but this is a big challenge to her, and why it's a challenge is that she represents the old guard of the Democratic Party, and there's a lot of new people in the party, women, additional people of color, military veterans, things like that. Whether she connects with them or not is going to be something to watch. But I think at the end of the day, she'll be able to bring around enough people. But what the viewers need to know is that the Speaker is elected by the entire House. A lot of people think it's just the party. It's not. It's the entire
Republicans
House.
Included.
Absolutely. So, if you don't get all the Democrats, that becomes a problem.
Do you think this was sort of, in some ways, a way for some of these Democrats, newly elected Democrats, newly elected to the House, to sort of save face? I mean, it was a way for them to tell their constituents they were voting for, for change. So they vote no here in the nomination process, but then ultimately they come around with a yes vote?
Yes, but the complication is going to be that they're going to go home and somebody's going to remind them, hey, weren't you all about a different leader, a different speaker, and they're going to have an explanation.
So it gets complicated.
It does, but what they'll do to bridge that is they'll make a deal with all of these people around something that is delivered to their district, and then they can go home and say, yep, but we were taken care of. All of us were taken care of.
Before we let you go, I want to bring up President Trump and his apparent support of Nancy Pelosi. Here is a tweet from the president just about 2 weeks ago saying that he can get Nancy Pelosi as many votes as she wants in order for her to be Speaker of the House, saying, quote, she deserves this victory. She has earned it. What is the president's support about here, do you think?
All about making a deal. He figures if she fell short on the Democratic side of the aisle, he could deliver enough votes to make sure she's Speaker. But in turn, you're sort of making a deal with the devil there because he's going to remind you at every turn he got you the votes.
All right. Political analyst Brian Sobel, thanks so much for coming in.
Very welcome.
Thanks, Brian.
Have a good night.
You too.